In an apocalyptic world overrun by the undead, we bring you the last news broadcast known to this grim, dying world. We report the news to prepare you for your inevitably painful demise. Will we survive another day, or will the human race end with this broadcast? This is Catching Z's, hosted by Chance Dangers. Whoa. That intro is so depressing. Let's do something more lively. That's better. Isn't that much more cheerful? You're all probably still going to die though. But it's not the end of the world. Oh wait, it is. But at least we got a more cheerful intro. Hello, Dermites. Welcome to Catching Z. Yes, I know what you're all asking. Why in the world am I calling you Dermites? Well, it's a name that I thought up during my amazing month-long adventure. And let me tell you something, I have a lot of amazing stuff to share with you. Oh, right. You might also be wondering why I'm back on the air. Before I explain, let me get the introductions out of the way. This is Chance Dangers, living dangerously, because I have no other choice. That sentiment has never been truer than it is today. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can find Catching Z on iTunes, YouTube, and Google Play. Don't forget to leave a rating and comment. Dying isn't easy when one is being ripped apart and eaten alive. Your comment might be the last thing seen by one of our brave souls. I don't know who will be listening to this broadcast. For all we know, everyone else is dead. If you happen to be a flesh bag, please don't eat me. That would be quite rude. This news broadcast is not being brought to you by the cruel Derminus militia. Nope. I am officially renouncing their hold on Derminus. They might have guns, they might have the numbers, but they cannot stop me from broadcasting the truth, because, well, they are too freaking stupid to even operate the equipment that is used in the first place. Seriously, General Bonner is a moron. Not the likable type of moron like our Governor Harry Dumas. He's the type of moron that would stick his own head in a meat grinder while we all cheer the outcome. And trust me, he's dumb enough to do just that. Right, sorry, Harry. I apologize for the insult, Harry. Oh, by the way, I am joined live by Governor Harry Dumas. Harry, say hi to our listeners. Okay, he's too busy digging a huge hole in the middle of our makeshift studio for absolutely no reason. I never thought I would miss Harry Dumas and his huge holes, but I really have. Dermites, we have an amazing broadcast in store today. From my adventures in Otherworld to my new gig here in Strangetown. Oh right, I should have opened with the fact that I am now broadcasting from Strangetown. You will understand by the end of this broadcast. Finally, I have some groundbreaking news that will completely blow your mind holes. I feel compelled to mention that I have not given up on my dear friends in Derminus. I am still a Dermite at heart and in spirit. We shall come out of this situation stronger than ever. Are you ready to get started with the news? I should probably start my story at the beginning. As I stepped into the luminous green fog, my entire existence started to twist and melt together. For a moment, I was everything, yet I was nothing. It felt like a huge acid trip. Not that I would know anything about what that feels like. A blinding light hit me like a freight train, causing my head to pound to the beat of a marching band. Then everything grew dark. I stood in the middle of a desert, in the middle of the night, without any cover around me. I had no idea what to expect. I eventually found my way out of the desert. It took all night, but I eventually found myself staring at bright, beautiful lights in the distance. Could it be? Was it really? Those two questions caused my heart to beat a bit faster from excitement. As I got closer, I realized it was! Otherworld had its own version of Las Vegas. I wondered if this one also included cash-strapping casinos, luxury hotels, and more lights than the most extravagant Christmas decorations, and I was not disappointed. My excitement continued to grow until I realized an important fact, a fact that would completely derail all of my immediate plans. I had absolutely no money. My excitement quickly turned to depression as I slumped against one of the more elaborately decorated towers. After a few minutes, a rather flashy lady approached me. "Down on your luck? We've all been there." She tossed some kind of strange-looking green paper down at me and walked away. Money! Otherworld has strange-looking money, though. They put faces of famous people on it. I guess it's better than putting pictures of money on money like we used to do. That $100 bill would actually end up funding my entire trip, as I used it to win even more money. Thus, my journey began. Don't become Grandma's last meal. Become a Patreon instead by supporting us at patreon.com/catchingz. The link is in the description. My journey into Otherworld was full of adventure and excitement. Nothing beats traveling to a new place, especially one where I don't have the constant fear of being eaten alive. It was a wonderful and pleasant experience. I would have loved to spend my entire life there, but it just wasn't meant to be. I heard some of the strangest news stories, though. Otherworld is quite the entertaining place. I even got to meet a few fans. It was an amazing trip. Anyway, here are some of the weirdest news stories that I heard while in Otherworld. An unfortunate thief had his car repossessed while perpetrating the act. In Illinois, a man was seen by employees of a local Walmart placing electronic items into a shopping cart. When he tried to leave without paying for them, he was confronted by several employees. As you might expect, he ran. Unfortunately for this thief, he was in for quite the unlucky day. While he was inside the store, little did he know that his car was being repossessed. This forced him to walk home, but he never made it. Police picked him up on the side of the road, where they made their arrest. In Otherworld, he will likely face a series of fines and might spend a few days in jail. Had this same crime been committed in Derminus, he would have been fed to the flesh bags by the Derminus militia. Our next story is named appropriately, Idiots on Facebook. Let me tell you something. Idiots doesn't even begin to describe the level of stupidity at play here. This story comes from Ohio, where a man and woman were linked to a bank robbery and both were arrested. A man in a hoodie demanded that the teller give him cash. You know, a typical bank robbery. So far, it doesn't sound like much of a story, but then stupidity strikes again. The man and his getaway driver began posting pictures with the money on Facebook. Naturally, police were easily able to find these two complete idiots. The man had just been released from prison for, guess what? Robbing a freaking bank. This pair of morons were smart enough to cover his tattoos with makeup, but not smart enough to stay off of Facebook. Oh, the irony. This next segment is not so much of a story as it is a review, because I finally got to watch a movie, and Otherworld gave me yet another treat. You see, there are good movies, there are bad movies, and then there's something called Sharknado. This might be the most terribly good movie I have ever seen. Of course, my selection has been quite limited since the fall of my civilization. I mean, this movie has everything. It's ridiculous and encouraging at the same time. Crazy one-liners, low-budget production, and it totally let loose with everything. While these might all sound like bad qualities, this movie never tries to take itself seriously. And why should it? It's a freaking movie about sharks in a tornado. This puntastic movie lives up to its title, starting off with a tornado throwing sharks into the city of Los Angeles. They land on bar stools, bite people's heads off, and even take a swim in a woman's pool. Then some dude leaps inside of a shark, equipped with a chainsaw, and then cuts himself out of its belly. Enough said. Which, ironically, is the tagline of the movie. Flying sharks and chainsaws are always fun. What's not to love? These actors and actresses must have had a difficult time keeping a straight face. The badness of this movie was so deliberate that it became quite charming. Sharknado created some of the rawest, dumbest material I have ever seen in my life. I could sit here for hours making fun of it. It's goofy and so far-fetched that I have no reservations about making this the butt of my jokes. And trust me when I say that I plan to make fun of this movie for years to come. The problem with these type of movies is usually that they tend to take themselves too seriously. Sharknado does exactly the opposite. It continuously and hilariously makes fun of itself. In short, I absolutely loved this movie. I am also super excited to have discovered that this one came out 4 years ago, and that there are 4 more Sharknado movies for my viewing pleasure. In some ways, I can personally relate to this level of absurdity. I come from a world where corpses walk around, gnarling at those who dare live, and then striving to eat them in some sense of perverse revenge. But even my reality pales in comparison to sharks flying around in tornadoes, chomping people's heads off. This is Chance Dangers, living dangerously, one day at a time. You too can live dangerously by getting your own official Catching Z t-shirt by visiting shop.spreadshirt.com/Catching Z. Okay, well, it's not quite living dangerously, but close enough. I am going to use this next segment of Catching Z to answer a common question that I've been getting from listeners from Otherworld quite often, and that question is this. How are you able to broadcast in a post-apocalyptic world? Before journeying through to Otherworld, that question always confused me. Why would I not be able to broadcast? Dear listeners, I discovered that Otherworld still uses fossil fuels as their main source of power. So now I completely understand why it's such a confusing topic. Fossil fuels stopped being our main source of power many years ago. While there are still remnants of fossil fuels remaining, they are not the normal. So to answer that question, one of the main reasons why we settled in Terminus was the renewable power plant in the area. One of the few things we did was ensure its operation, so we have access to renewable energy. While the plant does not operate at full capacity, due mostly to our lack of knowledge, we managed to do just enough to provide limited power to Terminus. It's one of the reasons why General Bonner is so keen to overtake and run the city. When I first started broadcasting the news, it was designed as a method of providing the news to Terminus. It was only upon the discovery of the luminous green fog that I came to realize that listeners from Otherworld were also able to pick up our transmission in the form of podcasts. Then I found out that I could gain access to Otherworld through the use of a network called the Internet, which works similarly to what we used to call the Global Communications Network, or GCN. Otherworld doesn't seem to care about its environment so much. Of course, protecting our world from global warming did little good to protect us from flesh-ridden beasts who seek to devour our delicious flesh. But hey, at least we saved the environment. Yeah, Otherworld has it much better than we do. My trip to Otherworld was cut short when officials caught me strolling through the streets late at night. There are many things that are strange, but none stranger than the fact that you have to have a card that's colored green in order to live in their version of the United States of America, which happens to be where the luminous green fog is located. I tried to run, but was easily caught when I tripped over my own shoelaces. I am too clumsy for my own good. I explained that I didn't want to return. I explained that my world was overrun with vicious beasts that constantly stalked us like prey. Okay, maybe I cried like a baby and my words were unintelligible. I didn't want to return. Who would? I mean, this world is slowly dying and coming back to life only to die again. Taken to the warehouse in the middle of the Arizona desert, I found that my fellow compatriots had also been gathered. This polite gentleman then informed me that I would be deported. Unwelcome in this world, I sat alone in the corner while contemplating my fate. Having spent 3 carefree weeks having fun and letting loose, I would be tossed back into a world where the dead stalked the living. That's when something inside of me sparked to life. It might be a dying world, but damn it, this is my world. This is a world where I make a difference. There are those who look to me to bring truth into their lives, and I had selfishly abandoned them. It was in that moment that I realized that I had to go back, literally, as they ripped me from the room and tossed me through the luminous green fog like a sack of potatoes. I had officially been deported. Standing in Weird Valley, I finally understood my true calling. My true calling is not to run. It's to provide the truth. I stood ashamed and alone. For the first time in my life, I had an epiphany. Did Strangetown really pose a threat, or was it propaganda spread by General Bonner? It wouldn't have been the first time that Bonner spread lies to suit his own agenda. That's the moment when I decided to take a risk. I decided to go to Strangetown to discover the truth for myself. Upon arriving in Strangetown, I expected to be incarcerated immediately, but that's not what happened. I was welcomed by none other than Governor Harry Dumas. Strangetown was full of laughter, happiness, and even the most challenging of times. One thing was for sure, though. No way could they have carried out an attack on Terminus. They were peaceful and seemed to welcome outsiders with open arms. And they are fans of Catching Z. Once Governor Harry Dumas introduced me, I found myself surrounded by people from all walks of life. And they all had questions. Later, Governor Harry Dumas informed me of the shocking truth. Ladies and gentlemen, General Bonner had carried out an attack on Strangetown a week after its discovery. Furthermore, I was shocked to learn that General Bonner actually spearheaded the attack on Terminus in order to make it look like we were being invaded. He killed our own innocent people. It was used as an excuse to further solidify his position. The citizens of Strangetown don't appear to be equipped for any kind of a fight, but Governor Harry Dumas has rallied them. I must admit that I was shocked to see our normally stupefied governor actually rally people. The same man who got literally one vote in an election. I half expected him to start digging holes all around Strangetown, but that didn't happen. Until today, which he's still digging a hole. These people are not exactly fighters. Some of them have never even shot a gun, but they are highly motivated and willing to learn. I expect a few accidents as they learn to shoot, but hopefully it's nothing too severe. Earlier this morning, I pledged my support to Governor Harry Dumas and his effort to free Terminus from the tyranny of General Bonner. Dear listeners, my friends in Terminus, I want you to hold fast. You're not alone. You have hope. Training will continue here as soon as Harry Dumas stops digging this huge hole in the middle of my studio. We're coming for you. This is Chance Dangers, reminding you to live dangerously. Live vicariously. Just live. Catch you next time, Dermites. This is a pre-recorded secret segment to let you know that this episode of Catching Z was brought to you by our unmatched desire for survival. If you're from Otherworld and stumbled upon this podcast, then please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It helps more people find us. You can also become an honorary member of Terminus by supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/catchingz, or buy one of our t-shirts from shop.spreadshirt.com/catchingz. Man pointing a gun at my head asked me to assure you that these shirts are all made by faithful volunteers. They are not, I repeat, not made at gunpoint. If you're actually from Terminus, then I'm so sorry for your rotten luck. Thanks again, and remember that new podcasts are uploaded on the 1st of every month, assuming we can survive that long. See you next time, hopefully.